Good morning, welcome back to WildPod X. Bitcoin is currently trading at $102,000, down 1.5% in the last 24 hours. Price action remained in consolidation, bouncing between 100k to 105k range. Meanwhile, the broader stock market is showing strength. The S&P 500 is up 0.6% at 6,086, and the Nasdaq is up 1.3% at 21,850. Right now, we're still looking at 105k to 110k as resistance for Bitcoin. Let's talk about the hidden cost of inflation. Inflation is a silent wealth killer. Everyone notices it when food prices, rent, and fuel goes up. But what most people don't realize is that inflation is eating away their wealth in ways that aren't so obvious. Let's say inflation is at 5% and your money is sitting in a bank account earning 0.5% interest. That means every single year you're losing 4.5% of your wealth just by keeping money in cash. But here's the thing, inflation is much worse than just the percentage the government tells you. First, there's something called stringflation. Have you ever bought a chocolate bar, a bag of crisps, or even a bottle of shampoo and thought, wait, wasn't this bigger before? That's not your imagination. Companies are making products smaller while keeping the price the same. That way, you don't complain about rising prices, but in reality, you're paying more for less. And next, we have wage inflation mismatch. People think, oh, my salary went up, so I'm fine. But are you really? If your salary goes up by 3% a year, but inflation is running at 5% or more, you're actually getting poorer over time. Your raise isn't keeping up with the rising cost of living, so you have less purchasing power even though your paycheck is bigger. And finally, there's asset inflation. The stock market, real estate, and even Bitcoin all have been going up over the years. That's great for people who already own asset, but terrible for those who still trying to get in. Imagine trying to buy a house today compared to 10 years ago. It's way more expensive. And the reality is that if you're not holding appreciating assets, you're falling behind. So how do you fight back against the inflation? First, stop holding too much cash. The longer your money sits in low interest bank account, the more value it loses. Instead, put your money to work. Second, invest in assets that historically outpace inflation, such as Bitcoin, stock, and even real estate. These assets tend to grow in value over time, while cash only gets weaker, and there's no limit to it really. And finally, think globally. Inflation isn't the same everywhere. Some countries are better at managing than others. By understanding where your money holds the most value, you can make smarter financial decisions. The bottom line is this: inflation is always going to be there, slowly eating away at your wealth. But if you know how to beat it, you can stay ahead and build real financial security. And that's what we're trying to do here in this channel. Let's take a look at today's top news. The first news, the CEO of Bank of America, Brian Moynihan, has made a big statement saying that Wall Street is ready to go all in on crypto, but regulatory uncertainty is holding them back. Major banks has been looking for ways to integrate Bitcoin and other digital assets into their services, but US regulators has been slow to provide clear guidance. The interesting is that despite banks publicly has been cautious about crypto, many of them have already been quietly accumulating Bitcoin ETFs and blockchain-related assets. If regulations open up, we could see a flood of institutional money pouring into the crypto market. Second news, Ethereum wealth have accumulated $1 billion worth of Ether in the last few weeks. According to on-chain data, this accumulation trend has historically signaled big price movements ahead, and some analysts are predicting Ether could break 5,000 soon. It suggests that confidence in Ethereum's long-term growth, especially in the bull market, the increasing demand for on-chain activities. The play here? I just keep drip fitting and dollar cost averaging under $4,000 mark. If you believe in Ethereum's long-term future, the whales are clearly betting on a bigger move, so it's probably worth paying attention. Third news, let's talk Solana. I don't own any Solana personally, however, Solana has been making a big move recently, surging to $295, making new all-time highs. And the key factor driving this rally is increasing activity on Solana's network. Transaction volume are growing, new projects are launching, and institutional interest in Solana ecosystem continue to rise. But since then, the price pulled back to $250 range. For SOL to go into price discovery mode, it needs sustained demand, continued network stability, and favorable broader market trend. If Solana can maintain its momentum and Bitcoin holds strong, we might see another leg up. But as always, volatility is expected, so do not FOMO and always watch your risk. That's a wrap for today's episode. Stay invested and I'll see you tomorrow.